They thought silence meant extinction. That was their first mistake. For 1,000 years, the galaxy listened. It listened to pulsars ticking like cosmic clocks, to quasars screaming from the edges of creation, to the quiet hum of civilizations rising and falling like tides beneath distant suns. And it listened for Earth. Once, Earth had been loud. Too loud. Its signals had spilled recklessly into the void. Radio waves, television broadcasts, radar pings, desperate attempts to reach something, anything beyond its fragile sky. Primitive, chaotic, unmistakably alive. Then, nothing. No warnings. No final transmissions. No fading echo. Just silence. The Galactic Archive recorded it as Event 771A. Sudden cultural termination, species, human. Theories spread quickly. Some claimed humanity had destroyed itself, undone by its own violence. Others believed a predator species had discovered them and erased every trace. A few, more philosophical minds, suggested something stranger, that humanity had simply stopped. That whatever drove them to shout into the void had vanished. Whatever the truth, Earth became a grave. And like all graves, it was eventually forgotten. Centuries passed. The galaxy moved on. New alliances formed. Old empires crumbled. Stars were harvested, planets reshaped, and entire species rose to prominence without ever knowing the name, human. Earth became a footnote, a cautionary tale, at best. At worst, a myth. Until the stars began to scream. It started at the edges. A mining colony orbiting a dying red giant sent the first report. At first, it seemed like a sensor malfunction, erratic gravitational fluctuations, sudden bursts of radiation, impossible distortions in spacetime. Then the star pulsed, not naturally, not in any pattern known to science. It pulsed, deliberately, 3 short bursts, 3 long, 3 short, again, and again. The colony transmitted the data to the nearest relay station, confused but not alarmed. Stars behaved strangely all the time. This would be explained. It always was. It wasn't. Within a week, similar reports flooded in. Different sectors, different stars, no connection, all of them pulsing, all of them sending the same pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. It didn't take long for someone to recognize it. An ancient signal, primitive, crude, almost laughably simple, a distress call, SOS. Panic spread faster than the data itself. Stars did not send distress signals. Stars did not communicate. Stars did not scream. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session. Representatives from 100 species gathered, their forms flickering in holographic projection, their voices overlapping in confusion and fear. What force could manipulate stellar bodies on this scale? Is this a weapon, a phenomenon, a message? From whom? No one had an answer. Until the archivists spoke. They were the keepers of memory, custodians of every known civilization, every recorded history, every lost culture. They rarely intervened, but when they did, the galaxy listened. The signal is not unknown, the chief archivist said, its voice calm and ancient. It originates from a species classified as extinct. A ripple of disbelief passed through the chamber. Impossible. Which species? The archivist paused, as if even it found the words difficult. Humans. Silence followed. Not the comfortable silence of space. The heavy kind. The kind that presses against you. That species ceased all activity over a millennium ago, one delegate argued. Correct. They are extinct. Unconfirmed. They are gone. The archivist did not respond. Instead, it transmitted a data packet to every representative. Ancient recordings. Human broadcasts. Languages long forgotten. And beneath it all, the pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. They used this signal as a universal distress call, the archivist explained. A simple, repeatable message intended to be understood across any technological barrier. And you're suggesting, another delegate said slowly, that stars across the galaxy are now broadcasting a human distress signal. Yes, that's absurd. Yes, the room erupted. The first star died 3 days later. It didn't collapse naturally. It didn't explode in a supernova. It tore itself apart, as if something inside it had pulled too hard. The energy release was catastrophic. Entire systems were erased, planets vaporized, ships caught in the blast simply ceased to exist. And in the final moments before its destruction, the star pulsed one last time. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. The galaxy stopped dismissing it as a curiosity. Expeditions were launched, probes sent, fleets mobilized. Every major power wanted answers. And every one of them began to notice the same thing. The pattern was spreading. Stars that had never shown instability were now pulsing. Systems that had been stable for billions of years were suddenly wrong. It wasn't random. It was coordinated. Something was moving through the galaxy. And wherever it passed, the stars began to scream. The first expedition to reach Earth's system was led by the Viral Collective, a species known for their precision and logic. They expected a dead world, a frozen relic, a silent grave orbiting an unremarkable star. What they found was neither silent nor dead. Earth was intact, more than intact. It was pristine, oceans untouched, continents unchanged, cities still standing, though aged by time. But there was no life, no movement, no signals, nothing, until they got closer. Their instruments began to fail first. Minor glitches, data inconsistencies, then voices. At first, faint, barely detectable beneath the static, but unmistakable. Human. Hello. Can anyone hear me? We're still here. Please, help us. The viral fleet hesitated. Their protocols did not account for ghosts. The signal grew stronger, layered, thousands of voices overlapping, millions, billions, all repeating the same thing. We're still here. Then the star behind them pulsed. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, and everything changed. The fleet's senses lit up with impossible readings. Energy levels spiking beyond measurable limits. Space-time, bending. No, tearing. Something was emerging. Not from space. From within it. The first ship disappeared without warning. One moment it was there. The next, gone. No explosion. No debris. Just absence. The second ship tried to retreat. It didn't get far. Something reached out. Not physically, not in any way their science could define, and pulled it apart. Not destroyed. Unmade. The remaining ships attempted emergency jumps. None succeeded. From Earth's surface, something rose. Not a structure, not a vessel, a distortion, a wound in reality. And from that wound, they came. At first, the viral thought they were seeing reflections, echoes, phantoms, human forms, flickering, shifting, overlapping. But they weren't transparent. They weren't insubstantial. They were wrong. Their shapes stretched and twisted, as if they existed in too many dimensions at once. Their eyes, if they could be called that, burned with something far older than light. Their voices, when they spoke, were not carried by sound. They were felt. You left us. The words crushed against the minds of every viral aboard the remaining ships. You heard us. More shapes emerged. More voices. An ocean of them. You listened, and you did nothing. The viral tried to respond. Tried to explain. Tried to say they hadn't known. That it had been too long. That humanity had been declared extinct. The response came instantly. We know. The distortion expanded, swallowed the fleet, swallowed the space around it, and then it was gone. The system fell silent again. Earth returned to stillness, as if nothing had happened. Except for one thing. The star began to pulse. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. The report never reached the council. But others did. Fragments, partial transmissions, corrupted data, all telling the same story. Earth was not dead. Humanity was not gone. They were waiting. And something had happened to them. Something the galaxy could not understand. The archivists were the first to propose the truth. Reluctantly, carefully, as if speaking it aloud might make it worse. Humanity did not go extinct, the chief archivist said. They ascended. The word hung in the air. Unwelcome. Dangerous. Ascended to what? A delegate demanded. The archivist hesitated. We do not know. What we do know is this: their signals did not stop. They changed. The data appeared again. Human broadcasts. Then, distortions. Then, silence. Then, something else. They were still transmitting, the archivist continued. We simply could no longer understand the signal. A realization spread through the chamber. Slow, horrifying. They were calling for help, someone whispered. Yes, and we. Yes. The stars screamed louder. More began to die. Entire regions of space became unstable. Trade routes collapsed. Empires fractured. Panic turned into chaos. And always, the signal. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. But now, there was something else. A second pattern. Subtle. Hidden beneath the first. Not a call for help. A warning. The first species to decipher it didn't survive long enough to share the details. But fragments were recovered, enough to understand the message. We are not alone. And then, more chilling still, we were not the first. The galaxy had assumed humanity's silence was the end of their story. It wasn't. It was the beginning of something far worse. Because whatever humanity had become, they were afraid. And the stars were not screaming because of them. They were screaming at what was coming. The final transmission recorded before the collapse of the Orion sector was the clearest yet. Uncorrupted, unfiltered, a single human voice. Calm, measured, terrified. If you can hear this. A pause. Static. Then, do not answer. The signal cut off. Across the galaxy, the stars pulsed. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, and for the first time, something answered. It did not use light. It did not use sound. It did not use any medium the galaxy could comprehend. But every sentient mind felt it. A presence. Ancient, endless, hungry. And in that moment, the galaxy understood something humanity had learned far too late. The universe had been quiet, because something was listening, and now, it had heard them. Outro. They thought Earth had gone silent. They thought humanity had vanished. They thought the stars were empty, indifferent, safe. They were wrong. Humanity didn't die. They changed. They endured. They became something that could survive what was coming. And when the stars began to scream, it wasn't a warning for themselves. It was a warning for everyone else. But the galaxy had already made its choice. It had heard the call. And it had answered. Now, all that remained was to see what answered back.